Hello, good afternoon, students. This is Anish, your English teacher, and I'm here to teach you the third poem from our syllabus from our book Flamingo, that is Keeping Quiet. Keeping Quiet is a poem written by Pablo Neruda. Pablo Neruda, he lived between 1904 till 1973, and it was his pen name. Later on, he legalized it. He is a famous Chilean poet, diplomat, politician. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. His writings are simple, wherein lies their beauty. And the poem which we are going to read, it was originally written in Spanish. Later on, he had translated it into English language. The essence of this poem is based on introspection and retrospection. The theme of the poem is self-introspection, meditation, and self-realization. Now, as we begin the poem, we have got the first stanza before us. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. So in the first stanza, the poet tells all of us to count 12. The poet tells that all of you count up to 12, and together after counting 12 you keep quiet, you keep silence. So the poet asks all of us to be quiet, and he says that at least for once on the face of the earth not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second. So here 1 second he uses for a short period of time. He says that we will count 12. So the number 12 represents 12 hours of the day. It also represents 12 months of the year. So he asks us to count 12 and keep quiet and not move our arms so much. So the word arms has got two meaning. One is the arm we use for fighting, that is the weapon for killing in the war, and second arms is our hand. So very beautifully the poet has used a poetic device that is called pun. Here a poetic device used, pun, and he says not move our arms so much. So one meaning of arms is our hand and second one is the weapon. This is the explanation for your reference. In the second stanza we read that it would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. So the poet says that if it is done, then think how exotic moment it would be. There won't be any rush, there won't be any noise of machine, noise of vehicle, train, buses, aeroplane, whatever you can imagine, everything would be quiet and we would all be together. He further says that fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hand. So, if this moment is established, then all the activities would stop at least for a short period of time. The fishermen, those who are working in the cold sea, they would stop killing whales, and there won't be violence at least for some time in the whole universe. The second line, he speaks that the man gathering salt. So the man gathering salt here represent to the all the people, those who are working, the people those who are busy in earning their livelihood, and because of their busy schedule they don't even get time to look at their hands, their wound. So if it is done out of their busy schedule, people will get some time to look at their wound. They would get time to understand their feelings, to look into their hearts and their mind. And in the third stanza, the poet speaks those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors. Here, the poet is talking about the people, those who are destroying the Mother Earth, those who are polluting the earth, those who are preparing for biological weapon. And he also gives reference to wars with gas. In the past, during World War II, Hitler and Nazi party, they had used the poisonous gas, killing lakhs of Jews. And he also speaks about wars with fire. So wars with fire means war with bomb, atomic bomb. So those people, those who are preparing for all this kind of activity, of course after the war they would survive, but only they would survive and no one will be there. He says that if it is done, then these people would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. If we keep quiet for some time, then all those people, those who are preparing for all kind of war, they would come together under one shade and they would walk hand in hand together with their brothers, with their enemy. The people those who are their enemy, they would turn out to be their brother, and such a great example of humanity and mankind would be established there. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. Further, the poet says that I don't want you to be confused with total inactivity. I want you to tell that out of your busy schedule, you take out some time for your meditation, for your self introspection. And he says that I am not referring here to death or any kind of permanent idleness. I just want you to relax for some time, give time to yourself for some time. Life is what it is about. Life has to go as it is. In the fourth stanza, the poet says that if we were not so single minded, the poet says that people are so single minded, so selfish, so self centered in their life that they are just worried about their self. They are worried how to move ahead in their life. So he says that if for some time those people do nothing, they just remain quiet, they just remain inactive, then perhaps there would be a huge silence, and this silence would interrupt them of not understanding their self. The people, those who have got sorrow, those who have got worried, those who are sad of not understanding themselves, their sadness would be interrupted. And the people those who have got fear of death, even the fear of death would be interrupted by keeping quiet, by keeping silent. Further, in the fifth stanza, the poet speaks that perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. So the poet says that we can learn a lesson from the earth. The earth can teach us a lesson. What lesson it can teach us? In winter, you could see that the earth is still. The earth is like sleeping. But again, when it is spring season, everything is green, everything is blossom, and people are very happy, the birds are chirping. So the poet says that as the earth is stopped for some time, its activities are stopped for some time. For example, the river, the lake, the falls, the trees, the grass, all these things on the earth dry up for some time. They are dead in a way for some time, but later on, after a few days or after a few months, again there is life. So, same way, the poet says that out of your busy schedule, out of your 24 hours, you give some time for self introspection, some time for meditation, and if you do so, there won't be any kind of problem in the society or problem in your life. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. So further in the last stanza, again the poet says that I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. So the theme of the poem is necessity of quiet introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. Sub-theme is horror of war and how they affect the world peace. Some of the keywords used in the poem: green wars means wars against environment, wars with gas, use of poisonous gas in wars, wars with fire, survivors. So these are the phrases and keywords used. Literary devices, assonance is used here. Second one is anaphora. Third one is alliteration. And other than this, there might be some more poetic device in different stanzas. You just go through the poem and you will understand. And finally, a brief outlook. So in this poem, the poet visualizes a state of comfortable inertia where he wishes for pleasant idleness and relaxation away from the frantic rat race, destructive activities, and futile wars. He wishes for a profound silence and stillness that would alleviate the sadness caused by lack of self understanding and the threat of self destruction, which would build up a sense of togetherness. So, I hope you have understood this poem well. If you have any problem, you can discuss with me. Okay. Till then, goodbye. Take care. See you in the next lesson.